I thought this video was oh my gosh, I'm so dirty. Oh gosh, I've been wearing gloves all day. Nels and I are at a job site today, and oh my gosh, my face is so dirty. Ugh. And he told me to get into the truck. I'm allergic to bees, and he had a little bit of a nest, so he's like, abort mission, get in the car, hang out, which I'm okay with. So I know this sounds like so cliche, but I get a lot of messages on the old IG about my weight loss surgery. A lot of people asking questions, where to start, what I did, and honestly, that's why I was really open about it. I was open about it for quite a few things, because I've always been bigger my whole life, and I also didn't want people to be like, what the hell happened to you? And also, I was never ashamed of it. I used it as a tool to lose weight. I've lost, okay, let me back up. So I had weight loss surgery, gastric bypass, Roux-en-Y, February of 2022. I'm recording this video May of 2023, and so far I've lost 110 pounds and counting. I did it for health reasons. I did not do it to look good, look better. I never was self-conscious. I was always very fine with how I looked. I never was like weird about it. Thankfully, I never had to struggle with that. I know a lot of people do, but I had a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of health problems. I did it for health problems down the road. I'm Native American, diabetes runs rampant, and I never want to have to deal with that. Also specifically for fertility. So Nels and I want to become parents. We want to have our own children, and we've struggled with it for years. We've actually done so many pills, so many shots. I think the time that I actually thought like, hey, I think I need to lose weight, was when COVID times. We were doing a transfer, like an IUI. If you know what that is, look it up. If you don't, but I was doing an IUI, and I remember being like, if this doesn't work, I have to do something else about my weight, because I've looked into so many things, and so many women have been like, hey, weight loss has changed my life, health-wise, fertility-wise specifically. I have PCOS, so I always knew that I would struggle. I only have one ovary. When I was 16, my left ovary, I ended up having a tumor on it, and then they took the tube, and so they took everything on my left side, and still my right ovary, so that one's still kicking. But weight loss specifically is like a night and day difference for me. I now, I like to say I actually became a woman after my surgery. I actually like menstruate. I know, sorry, this isn't probably like the channel per se that wants to hear, the audience that is like, what? But I actually became regular, and ovulate regular. We're not trying to have children yet. They typically recommend waiting a year or two. Every program's different, but I'm waiting specifically for 2 years, because I'm going to try to get as much weight off of me and use my program, because again, it's a tool to lose as much weight. So I first started calling my insurance. I called my insurance, and I'm like, hey, I'm interested in gastric bypass. Is this even possible? And they were like, heck yeah, it's possible. This is what we cover, and these are the doctors that cover it. I'm like, cool. Called a couple of the clinics, and one of them was able to get me in sooner. And once I met him, loved him. I'm like, no, I canceled my other appointments. I'm like, he's the guy. So I just like the way he specifically, he's worked with other women with PCOS. He was also very positive about it. Like, he's like, I think you'll be able to have children after this. Like, I think you will become a whole different person, and I think it would be the best thing for you. And I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. I think that positive reinforcement is super nice. Like, he is super gung-ho in his art, what he does, but also encouraging you to be like, you've got this, and this is super cool, and 100% supports you. So anyways, I started from there. My specific program and insurance, all of them require different things. My insurance required 3 visits, like psych visits, so I had to go and make sure, talk to a therapist and discuss X, Y, and Z. I also had to go to like 6 different dietitian appointments, which ended up being 6 months, and then and those kind of flew by, and they basically pre-teach you what you're gonna need after the surgery. So like specifically like my eating instructions of like a week after surgery you're able to drink clear liquids. After that you can do liquids, then you can do like solid, you know. So it kind of like breaks down, and then it also gets you into like the habits of like drinking more water, which I already drink a crap ton of water. And I like to say, I hate saying this because I see a lot of people who struggle with this weight loss surgery. I had the best experience. I'm also very disciplined. I'm also very, once I get into, I'm a creature of habit. So once I get into habit, I can totally do it. So like, I also don't get weirded out by things of like, I will drink the same protein drink and I won't even like, it won't even faze me. I won't even be like disgusted by it. I will just like, I drink it because I know I need the protein and whatever. So I just don't think about that stuff, whereas other people have been like, oh, I can't do that anymore because, you know, and I totally get like those are valid things and I totally get it, and it can be like a texture thing and whatever. I just know for me the surgery, and again, this is all like based on my own opinion, my own experience, but I just know for my surgery, it was the best thing that I did for myself, and it also helped that I was like so disciplined and still very disciplined. I don't, oh my god, my water bottle just spit at me. Okay, sorry about that, that was weird. Anyways, but I am very good, like once I get something in my head, I know like, okay, I can't eat carbs anymore, I can't eat pasta. Sure, it sucks, but I've lived without it for over a year now, and why reintroduce it into my life? Same thing with pop. I've had pop out of my life for years anyway. Do I think about it? Yes, I think about it. Oh man, if I could go for like a Dr. Pepper or like a Mountain Dew Code Red or something, those are the things I think about, but I won't because my doctors explained to me that they don't want me to. It could, you know, mess up my surgery. And again, every program is different, so I'm sure every doctor and every person does something different. I just don't want to introduce carbonation back into my life because I've gone without it this long anyway. And I'm really happy with my choices that I make. Like I do a lot of like Crystal Light waters. Gosh, that's honestly like the only thing I drink. Yeah, literally the only thing I drink, and like protein drinks. But yeah, so once I went through the 6 months of dietitian, the 3 appointments with my therapist, I had to get like a final like write-off from my doctor. And then they sent it into my insurance, and I waited for surgery for that. My surgery was actually pushed out a couple months because of COVID. So it should have been in 2021, and then in the fall of 2021, and then it was actually pushed to February 2022, which was totally fine. It actually fell like a couple days before my birthday, so it was kind of nice to like not have to work during my birthday, be home, focus on this like new year, new me, literally. But yeah, it was like the weight, I was never able to lose a pound alone, let alone, hard to believe, I've lost 100 pounds, let alone 110 pounds. I started at 301 pounds as my highest recorded. And again, I don't really care about saying these numbers because I think they don't really hold value in me or whatever. But so I was at over 301 pounds, and that was actually right before my pre-surgery diet. Is kind of like the last time I really weighed myself. No, I was 301 pounds. I think I lost like 10 or 15 during my pre-surgery diet. Pre-surgery diet is to shrink your liver. They make you on that diet 2 weeks before surgery. So it's to shrink your liver so they can get around your liver. People are always like, oh, they want you to lose weight before. I mean, yeah, sure, that's an added bonus. But what they really want is to shrink your liver so they can get around to your stomach. And the whole time in my head, I'm like, I'm like, oh, if my liver's hard, they're gonna know I cheated on my diet. So I did not. So like one of the first things when I got out of like surgery, I was like all drugged up. I was like, was my liver hard? It was not. But I was like so worried about it. I was like, my doctor's gonna be so mad if I have a hard liver. Anyways, so 301 pounds, and I'm 190 now. So it's just bizarre to even, I can't even tell you the last time I was under 200 pounds. I honestly can like think back to middle school, and I've been like, no, that was probably like 220 then. But again, PCOS, which I didn't really know I had PCOS until I was 16 and discovered I had a tumor on my ovary, where I was like, whoa, totally makes sense why I don't have a period every month, or why I have X, Y, and Z and pain and whatever. So, sorry, I'm watching Nels. He's working, and I'm sitting in here hiding from the bees. I actually think I forgot my EpiPen. Anyway, but I'm okay. I'm in the AC. But, and not just that, side note, I've been out laboring in the heat, and Nels is like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, you've been like in the skid steer in the air conditioning. Okay, anyways, sorry, rant over. I know he works really hard too. But yeah, so 190 pounds now, and my doctor, at last time I met with her a little over like 4 weeks ago, she brought up taking a prescription, actually a weekly shot to try to help me lose weight, just because you plateau. Plateau was actually really hard for me because I don't know, I'm still doing the same thing I've always been doing since surgery, and getting as much protein and getting as much water, and I'm like by the book following directions, and I'm like, how come I stopped losing weight? But I guess there's a whole bunch of different things that go into it. So my doctor explained to me that my brain is like trying to figure out how I lost so much weight in such a little time. Also, I may not be getting enough to eat, which is also really hard to hear as my whole life I've spent as a obese person, because I've always been told, no, you're eating too much, which is actually really funny, because when you think about it, I probably wasn't eating enough, especially enough of the right things that my body needs, like protein. So anyways, I'm taking weekly shots right now to try to help me lose weight. I haven't seen any, it's been a couple weeks since I started taking the shots, because it had to go through insurance, and it's actually quite a bit out of pocket. But I'm willing to put money towards me being my healthiest, so we could become parents. So doing that right now, and that's like 5 or 6 months of these shots. They slowly increase each month, milligram wise, and my doctor thought I would probably have really good results, so why not give it a go? I want to get as much weight off of me because I want to be the healthiest, especially when I do attempt to try to conceive again. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. As far as price, because everyone always asks me, my insurance, it's a once in a lifetime surgery, right? Like they cut out 90% of my stomach. So it's not like they're going to go back in there and my 10% little stomach will grow a little more, and what they're going to take out, what, 90% of that? Like, no. So they would never do that anyways. Once in a lifetime surgery. Total throughout the whole year, I added up last year, within all of my appointments, all of my like co-pays, everything that I had to pay out of surgery, $15,000. I put at least half of that aside, and then the rest of it, because you kind of really don't know. Like, they give you like a generic idea, like the hospital will say, oh, hey, yeah, this. So I put $7-8 grand aside for it, and then all the other things just kind of came throughout the year, like, you know, the $25 copay, or when I went to this therapist I had to pay X amount of money, but yeah, so $15,000 is what I had to pay. I also have friends who had the same exact surgery, same exact doctor, and they had to pay nothing. So again, it goes whether or not your insurance pays this or that. I've also seen where like people had to pay more than me, unfortunately, or but again, if it's a life-changing surgery and that's what you want, I mean, you can't really, I guess, put a price on that, especially because you're kind of in a chokehold with your insurance. But I'm super happy I did it, and Nels is extremely supportive. Nels is actually surprised I brought it up to him. I brought it up to him after we found out our IUI transfer failed, because I've always been extremely confident in my body and who I am, and I still have been, and I'll stand by that. I do have to say though, after surgery, I don't think I realized how much my weight held me back in certain aspects of my life. And I can't really say specifics, but I know there's been times where like something happens now after I've lost weight and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I'll do that. But I never realized before, like thinking back to it, like if I was 300 plus pound Alexis, like would you have done that? Probably not. And that's really hard to I guess realize, because I always thought my weight really didn't hold me back, but apparently now I'm realizing that I probably did. Actually it did in certain ways. But yeah, I guess I don't know if necessarily if my like confidence has like improved, but it probably has, because I carry myself differently. Like I'm not, I don't know, worried about, is there going to be a chair at this place? Is there going to be a spot for me to, you know, maneuver between these people? I don't know. There's just a few other things that I guess, I don't know, if you haven't been there, I guess you don't understand, but those are some of the things that like I don't have to completely worry about anymore, or if the shirt will fit me. Like I have never weighed under Nels. Literally never weighed under him. The first year we started dating, I gained like 60 pounds because my doctor tried to switch me onto a different medication. The medication wasn't working and I blew up. I shouldn't say blew up because there's so many people who are that weight and whatever, unhealthy, and that's the thing too. Like I shouldn't correlate weight to health. I just know I needed to be healthy fertility wise, and the best thing to do was to lose weight. And that's for me and my personal, I don't think weight and health necessarily are correlate. I know plenty of healthy people, especially half the things that I did before surgery, like drinking all that water, drinking protein, or having protein, making sure I'm doing that, not really having pasta, all those bread, like not having breads. I did a lot of that before surgery, so, or sugar-free stuff. Like I've pretty much focused on that. So that's kind of funny too, because it's like my diet really didn't change. Oh, also working out. I work out every morning. So everyone would be like, oh, well, if you want to lose weight, just work out. It's like, well, I frickin' do, and I've seen nothing. So again, it's just harder for women, let alone women with PCOS or any type of, hindrance on weight loss. It's just a pain. So yeah, so what do I want to talk about? So payment is the thing that people ask about me, insurance wise. Post-op, honestly, it was such a breeze. I made sure I was like walking every hour because I didn't want to get blood clots in my legs. So I was like walking in my living room. It was like dead of winter and I'm just like walking in my living room in circles. At one point I was just vacuuming, like, okay, my house has never been spotless like that, because I was just vacuuming everywhere. I would walk I was doing like a mile a day, because I wanted to make sure, like, one, I was moving, but also it honestly, my stomach, they explained it to me like my stomach got like a front epidural, which, oh man, was amazing. I didn't feel anything. The last like drugs, pain medication they gave me was at the hospital. They gave you a prescription, but I didn't want to take it once I got home because I really didn't need it. Because I lived an hour from the hospital, and when Nels came to pick me up, they're like, we're going to give you this even if you don't want it because you're going to be driving home. And I'm glad they did, because it was bumpy. But it was funny too, because Nels stopped at McDonald's on the way home, and people were like, that is so rude of him. You just had gastric bypass. I'm not even hungry. Literally not even hungry. I didn't need anything. So that didn't really change. I didn't really care too much. Like I wasn't like upset with him, because it is what it is. But yeah, so aftercare was amazing. I didn't have any issues with my incisions. I didn't have any issues with walking, moving, eating. Absolutely amazing. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Nels needed me. So where was I? No issues after the fact. I did get, okay, so they call it dumping syndrome. I never really had any issues because I don't really overeat. Because when I feel full, I feel full. I try not to push it. I have gotten sick twice. And that was like months after was the first time I ate. And then I laid down to get my eyebrows waxed. And when I sat back up, I was like, no. So things sit differently in my stomach. It's like I could feel it. The second time was I had a little too much sweets. One of my coworkers, she made me a birthday cake, had a little slice, and then I was like, oh, that was good. I didn't feel anything after that. Had a little more. I was so sick, and honestly, I think I needed it. Like, I needed a reality check of being like, girl, you can't do that. And that was just, it's been a year since my surgery at that point when I had it in February, and I was like, what am I doing? I don't know why I'm trying to push the boundary. I know it's been a year, but I still, whatever. The only actual side effect, and I'll show you because I'm not really self-conscious about it because it is what it is, right? I had hair loss. I mean, I have hair loss is what I should say. My hair started falling out a couple months after surgery. I have a lot of hair, so it didn't really matter. It is what it is. It could be worse. I would not trade this like for the surgery. Like, I'm so happy I did the surgery that this is okay. Again, my hair doesn't define me, so I wish it was maybe like other places, like my armpits or like my leg hair that was falling out, but it's not. It is the top of my head. So I have some hair loss here, and then I have it at the top of my head, of course. So right here, there is some baby hairs that are finally growing. It is what it is. I have fun with it. It's okay. I can easily cover it. And honestly, if I can't cover it, who freaking cares? Par for the course. I did have some substantial hair loss where I just ended up chopping my hair. My hair was super long. I just chopped it. Because, you know, it is what it is. Again, my hair doesn't define me. I would not trade it because if that's the worst thing that's going to happen from, man, I am dirty. I've been out here working, people. Okay. When people say that they don't see me working, I mean, this is why I actually probably shouldn't be showing myself because I am just dirty. But it is what it is. I had hair loss, and it could be worse. I could have way worse side effects. I am doing everything I can. I appreciate people who comment or send me messages about what I should and shouldn't do to my hair to like help it grow. It is what it is. My doctor's like, it will come back. And I'm, again, not too worried about it. I did attend like this gala a while back, and Nels was like, do you want me to spray paint it? And I was like, no, it's okay. But it was very sweet. But again, there's nothing that I can really do. People have been like, oh, put makeup on it. I don't care enough to do that. I just don't care enough. I'd rather be having a cul-de-sac, I guess. So that's that. I'm trying to think of what are the other questions that I usually get. We will probably, after 2 years, start again to try to have children. And here's Nels. Hold on. He needs me. All right, I'm back. He basically, I saw him make a run for it to the excavator because there's so many freaking wasps and bees and whatever, where he basically was like, hey, I'm going to move that wall. I think there's more wasps. Just stay in here. So I'm like, okay, I'll just stay in here. That's fine. Plus all the physical labor that we had to pretty much get done that I can do without equipment, done. Because you're all got muscles, honey, muscles. I actually just considered it my workout today, and getting a little sun. I did use sunscreen, but you know, get a little sun. My nose burnt, per usual. Actually, it always looks red. Anyways, we will probably try to have children here after 2 years, and I hopefully won't have to contact my fertility clinic. But if I have to, I have to. I don't think it's like the fix-all because clearly I know I still have issues and whatever. And but from what I've known in my past, I am pretty healthy. We went through fertility testing. Maybe I should make that another video too about like everything we had to jump through for like fertility stuff. I guess I could have kind of roped it into this. Well, I kind of did. I did talk about like some of the things we had to go through. But yeah, we're pretty much trying for 5+ years, and then finally it was time to be like, okay. And once I made that decision to have gastric bypass, I was like, we are preventing, because I'm not going to try to jump through all these hoops, and then of course I would get pregnant, right? So, and then also that is actually one of the requirements too that I get a question about, like females being like, well, okay, so the idea is when women start to lose weight, hormones are stored in their fat. those hormones, of course, can get you pregnant easier. So my requirement for, I think it was insurance, is that you need to have basically be on birth control. So I did opt for that. Nels was totally down for it. He was like, yeah, if you're doing this, like, we're gonna give it your all. I'm gonna support you no matter what. Oh, I guess I should probably hit on about how supportive Nels has been. Nels has been such an amazing support. Again, like I said earlier, he was surprised that I even wanted to do this, because he was like, oh, you've always been super confident in yourself, and really surprised. And then when I told him, like, hey, this is what I looked into, I think it'd be good for fertility, he was like, 100% totally agree with you. If that's what you want to do, I'm down to support you. And I love that. He has been great. He stayed with me all day at the hospital. I think, again, because it was like COVID, visitors could only, like, you couldn't have anyone stay there or whatever, but like you only could come from like a certain time to a certain time. But he was there the whole time, and he was so sweet, and he has been just, he knows I'm really disciplined, but man, it's really nice to have someone kind of put you in check. Like when I told him I got sick at work because I had 2 pieces of cake, and he's like, that's what you get, buddy. Like, you probably needed that to realize, like, you can't push the boundaries even though you know, post-op 12 months. And I was like, yep, you're right. Or, and it sounds rude, but it's really not. I want him to do this. Like, hey, should you really be eating that? Or I think you're done, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, because I don't need to be overeating just because I'm like, oh, that tasted good. It's like, no, my stomach's full and I could get sick. So he's been really good, really supportive. He actually makes me a lot of my protein shakes too. He's really sweet like that. And he got really big into protein shakes too, which is really good for him because Nels doesn't really like to cook, so therefore the things that he eats are pretty easy. But I guess I should say too, it's not like I'm the biggest cook either, but especially this last year, I was like, I need to focus on what I'm consuming. I cannot focus on what you're consuming. So I was like, I focus on what I'm eating, you focus on what you're eating, so I can't worry about you. And he is like, yes, that's totally good. And then granted, there's a lot of like easy dinners that I have. So like, if you've ever heard of the brand Real Good Foods, they make chicken stuff. It takes like 35 minutes to cook, and he loves that stuff. So, or I got Real Good Foods chicken nuggets, and you know, we can eat that. Or he's actually come to like a lot of the things that I eat. There's a few things where I'm like, man, this is so good, and then he takes a bite. He's like, okay, buddy, like that's what tastes good to you, like all you. But he's supportive where he was like, okay, I can focus on what I'm making. If I'm on my way home from work, he'll make me my protein smoothie. Or him and my mom will go to dinner quite a bit, especially in the very beginning, because I'll go to dinner too. I usually don't opt for like the kids meal. They gave me like a card saying like, oh, I had gastric bypass, I have a kids meal. I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to put them in an awkward position. There was only one server that was like really rude about me not getting anything, specifically right after surgery. I just got water, and she like kind of called me out, and I was like, okay, sorry, I'm sitting here, but like, you know, what am I supposed to do with my husband and my mom when, you know, we're all going out to eat and I can't eat anything? And it is what it is. People don't understand, but I'm also not going to be like, well, I have gastric bypass. No, I'm just whatever. So nowadays I just get like a big meal and I just have leftovers, and I don't really care too much about that. Like, I'll just leftovers, whatever, worry about it. Actually, Nels probably eats majority of my stuff. He is so funny. He's like, do you think since you lost weight, I've lost weight? I'm like, I don't know, buddy. Like, maybe, but you eat all of my leftovers. Like, he eats what I don't eat. Like, he'll get a pizza and I'll just eat like the cheese off of it, and because I can't eat like the bread, and then he'll eat my like cheeseless crust. But yes, he's been very supportive, and it was really nice to have that. I didn't opt to do any or participate in any of the small groups. They didn't really require me to, but I wasn't going to, only because I knew I was doing it for my health. I was doing it for our future of having children. I also didn't want to get wrapped up in someone else's story, their journey, and me comparing my stuff to them. So that was also why I opted to kind of stay away. There was only one person I kind of like followed on social media because I liked some of the recipes that they were making. But beyond that, I had to unfollow people, because I went to follow people to kind of like see their journey or see, I guess, the things that they have to say about the specific surgery I was having. And I unfollowed because, again, same reasons. I just didn't want to compare myself. because that gets really difficult too, especially when you do plateau, when you're like, what the heck, like, how I've been losing weight for 8 months like this, and how come I'm not losing weight anymore? But yeah, so I guess that's my gastric bypass journey. Probably it won't really pertain to our audience, but I do get a lot of questions about it on Instagram, which sounds so like cliche influencer like, so I got a lot of questions, but actually I do. I try to check my DMs quite a bit because I'm an open book. I want people to ask questions work-wise, health-wise. I do put it out there because I want to be honest, and I am not ashamed of it. So yeah, I guess if you have any questions, feel free to message me or put it down below. And yeah, that is it. Hopefully I touched on everything. But yeah, okay, now I should probably go back to work. Bye.